It started as a simple tweet, a single sentence that sent the internet into a frenzy. I saw heaven in my dream last night. It was real. More real than this world. The tweet came from none other than ex-12 Musk, the son of billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk. At just 14 years old, X was already a fascinating figure in the public eye, homeschooled, fluent in multiple languages, and rumored to be helping his father design futuristic technology. But this was something no one expected. The internet exploded. Within minutes, #XSeesHeaven was trending on Twitter. Some dismissed it as the wild imagination of a teenager. Others speculated if it was an AI-generated post, a marketing stunt, or even something deeper, something supernatural. Elon Musk himself remained silent. It wasn't until a journalist from the New York Times managed to secure an interview with X that the world finally got an explanation. Sitting across from the reporter in a quiet, dimly lit room of Musk's Texas mansion, X was calm, too calm for a teenager in the middle of an internet storm. His silver blue eyes, eerily similar to his father's, held a knowing look. "I don't expect people to believe me," he said, "but I have to tell the truth." The journalist leaned in. "Tell us, X. What did you see?" X took a deep breath. "It wasn't just a dream. I was there. I felt the air, the light, the warmth. It was like I had woken up from a dream, and this world felt fake in comparison." The reporter's pen hovered over the notebook. "Where exactly were you?" X's expression didn't change. "I was in heaven." The room fell silent. Then slowly X began to recount what he had seen. "It was vast," he whispered, "but not in a way that made me feel small. It felt like the universe itself was welcoming me. The sky wasn't just blue, it was alive. It moved like waves in an ocean. And the air, it wasn't just air. It was music. Every breath I took sounded like 1,000 melodies playing at once." The journalist's fingers trembled slightly as they wrote. "And then I saw them." "Who?" X hesitated. "They weren't people. Not exactly. They were beings. Light poured out of them like the sun, but they weren't blinding. They radiated warmth. Love. They spoke to me, but not with words. It was like their thoughts just became part of me." He looked straight into the camera. "They told me something." The journalist swallowed hard. "What did they say?" X's voice was barely a whisper now. "They told me that humanity is running out of time." The journalist's breath hitched. "What do you mean?" X's gaze was distant. "They said Earth is on the edge of something big. That soon we'll face a choice. And whatever we choose will decide whether we survive." The room felt colder. The reporter was struggling to keep their composure. "What kind of choice?" X hesitated, then gave a small, sad smile. "I don't know yet, but they told me that my father is the key." The interview clip went viral overnight. News anchors debated whether X was simply a teenager with a vivid imagination or if something extraordinary had truly happened. Social media was ablaze with theories. Some called it a government cover-up, others believed X had tapped into an AI simulation revealing hidden truths about reality. But amidst all the noise, one voice remained silent: Elon Musk. For days, the billionaire refused to comment on his son's vision. That was until he posted a cryptic tweet at 2:17 a.m. "Some dreams are more than dreams. #stay curious." The speculation intensified. Did Musk believe his son? Did he know something the rest of the world didn't? But behind closed doors, in the depths of his Texas compound, the father and son were having a very different conversation. Elon stared at his son across the sleek black table in his study. "Tell me everything again," he said, his voice unreadable. X exhaled and began from the start. He described the luminous beings, the vastness of heaven, the music in the air. Then he paused. "They said you were the key, Dad." Musk's eyes darkened, his mind calculating probabilities, searching for logical explanations. "The key to what?" X hesitated. "I don't know. They just said you're on the brink of something and that what you do next will determine the fate of humanity." Elon leaned back in his chair, rubbing his chin. He had spent his life chasing the future, pushing the boundaries of technology, colonizing Mars, and integrating AI with the human mind. But this was different. Something stirred deep within him, something that had been dormant for years. "Did they say how I'm supposed to help?" Musk asked. X shook his head. "They only said that time is running out." A heavy silence filled the room. Then X's expression changed. He gripped the table as if something had just struck him. "There was one more thing." Musk's eyes sharpened. "Go on." X's hands trembled slightly. "Before I woke up, they showed me something. It was like I was floating over Earth, looking down at it. But then I saw these fractures. Cracks forming in reality itself." "Cracks?" Musk repeated, his analytical mind kicking in. X nodded, his voice tight. And through those cracks I saw something watching us. Elon's heart pounded harder than he cared to admit. What do you mean? X's voice dropped to a whisper. I mean there's something out there, Dad. And it's waiting. For the first time in a long time, Elon Musk felt something unfamiliar. Fear. The days that followed were a blur. X's dream had shaken the world, but inside the Musk household, something even stranger was happening. Elon Musk was changing. He was no longer the eccentric billionaire making sarcastic tweets and launching rockets for fun. He became quieter, more distant. His teams at SpaceX and Neuralink noticed it first. His meetings became shorter, his late-night coding sessions longer. He started canceling public appearances, something he almost never did. Most concerning of all? He spent hours locked in his private lab, alone. X knew something was wrong. One evening, as the Texas sun bled orange over the horizon, he found his father staring at a wall-sized holographic display of Earth. The projection was covered in intricate data streams, seismic readings, gravitational anomalies, atmospheric shifts, patterns that made no sense to anyone but Elon himself. Dad? X's voice was cautious. Elon didn't turn. His blue-gray eyes were locked onto the data, his fingers hovering over a touchpad. It wasn't just a dream, was it? He finally said. X's chest tightened. No. Musk exhaled sharply. I've seen patterns like these before. X frowned. Where? Elon tapped the hologram. Mars? X's breath hitched. I picked up strange gravitational distortions near Olympus Mons last year, Elon continued, his voice low. Tiny, almost undetectable fractures in space-time. At the time, I thought it was a glitch in our instruments. But now I'm not so sure. X swallowed hard. You think those cracks I saw are real? Elon didn't answer immediately. He simply turned to face his son, and for the first time, X saw something rare in his father's eyes. Doubt. I need to show you something, Musk said, leading X to a heavily secured terminal in the corner of the room. He pressed his palm against a biometric scanner, and the screen flickered to life, revealing a grainy, black-and-white video feed. X leaned in, his pulse racing. What is this? Elon's jaw tightened. This is a classified feed from the Mars rover Perseverance from 3 months ago. The footage was shaky. Dust storms raged across the barren Martian surface. For a few moments, nothing seemed out of the ordinary. And then, a crack appeared in the sky. Not in the ground. Not in a rock formation. In the sky itself. X's breath caught. The fracture was jagged, unnatural, a split in the very fabric of reality. It flickered like light bending through shattered glass. And through it, something moved. A shadow. A shape that defied physics. And then static. The video feed cut out. X turned to his father, his stomach in knots. What the hell was that? Elon's voice was grim. I don't know. Silence stretched between them. Then X whispered, Dad, what if this is the choice they were talking about? What if something is coming and it's already trying to break through? Elon took a deep breath. When he spoke, his voice was softer than X had ever heard it. Elon Musk was not a man who scared easily. He had built rockets that defied gravity, created AI that rivaled human intelligence, and pushed humanity toward a future among the stars. But what he had just seen, what X had dreamed, was bigger than anything he had ever faced. The cracks in reality. The thing moving on Mars. And the worst part? He had no idea what it meant. For the next several days, Musk threw himself into research, pulling classified data from NASA, SpaceX, and even military archives. He locked himself away in his private lab, barely sleeping, barely eating. X watched his father unravel. He had never seen Elon this desperate. It wasn't like him. His father was always 3 steps ahead of the world. But this was different. Then, one night, everything changed. It was 3 a.m. when X woke up to the sound of frantic typing. The soft glow of the holographic screen painted his father's face in shades of blue and white. His eyes were wild, his fingers moving at a speed that didn't seem human. Dad? X's voice was thick with sleep. Elon didn't look up. I found something. X rubbed his eyes and stepped closer. On the screen was a complex series of mathematical equations, lines of code, and images of deep space captured by the Hubble telescope. What is this? X asked. Elon exhaled sharply, pushing his fingers through his hair. A pattern. A hidden signal in the cosmic microwave background radiation. X blinked. You mean, like an actual message? Musk nodded. His voice was tight, urgent. It's been there for years, maybe since the beginning of the universe itself. But no one ever noticed because it wasn't written in any human language. It's fractal-based, a self-replicating algorithm that only AI could recognize. X felt his skin prickle. And you just decoded it? Elon turned to face him. His expression was unreadable. I didn't. X's stomach twisted. Then who did? Elon hesitated. Then, in a whisper, he said, You did. X's pulse thundered in his ears. What? Elon gestured toward the screen. After your dream, I ran an AI simulation to reconstruct the visuals you described, the light, the beings, the sky. I cross-referenced those patterns with deep space scans and found something impossible. X's throat went dry. What? Musk pointed at the screen. This pattern, it matches the frequency of your brainwaves while you were asleep that night. X staggered back, his mind reeling. What are you saying? Elon's voice was hoarse. I'm saying that whatever you saw in your dream, it was real. X swallowed hard. The walls of the room seemed to shrink around him. You're telling me I was actually there? In heaven? Elon didn't answer right away. He simply turned back to the screen, staring at the endless streams of code, the celestial maps, the cosmic radiation signals. Then, finally, he whispered, I think you went somewhere outside of time itself. Silence. Then X spoke, his voice barely a breath. If that's true, then what are we supposed to do now? Elon exhaled slowly. When he turned back to his son, there was something new in his eyes. Determination. We find out what's coming, he said, and we stop it before it's too late. The weight of it all pressed down on X like an unseen force. His dream. The fractures in reality. The thing moving on Mars. And now this hidden message embedded in the universe itself connected to him. It was too much. But for Elon Musk, it was just another problem to solve. Within hours, he had mobilized his most trusted engineers, astrophysicists, and AI specialists. Under the cover of night, an underground team began working at a secret SpaceX facility in Boca Chica, Texas. Their mission? To decode the message in the stars before it was too late. The numbers that shouldn't exist. At 4:28 a.m., Musk's AI supercomputer, Dojo, cracked the next layer of the cosmic signal. The results sent a chill down his spine. Coordinates. Not of a location on Earth. Not even on Mars. But somewhere in deep space. Elon stared at the numbers, his mind racing. The signal was pointing to a distant region beyond the Kuiper Belt, a void so dark that no telescope had ever mapped it in full detail. X hovered over his father's shoulder. What's out there? Musk didn't answer immediately. He pulled up a series of high-resolution images from the James Webb Space Telescope, zooming in on the coordinates. For several moments, the screen remained dark. Then, a faint structure appeared. X's breath caught. That's not natural. It wasn't. The object lurking in the void wasn't a planet. It wasn't an asteroid. It was massive. A structure of impossible geometry. A shape that seemed to fold in on itself as if space-time itself bent around it. And then, the numbers on the screen shifted. The code was still changing. X frowned. What's happening? Musk's fingers flew across the keyboard. His heart pounded. The signal is adapting. It's reacting to us. The screen flickered. And then a new sequence of numbers appeared. A countdown. X's blood ran cold. It's a timer, he whispered. Elon's jaw clenched. The numbers were precise, down to the second. And as he watched, the countdown continued to tick away. 216 days. 14 hours. 3 minutes. 27 seconds. A deadline. X turned to his father. What happens when it reaches 0? Musk didn't answer right away. He simply stared at the numbers, his mind moving at the speed of light. Then finally he spoke. I don't know. But deep down he had a terrible feeling. The cracks in reality. The thing moving on Mars. The hidden signal. Something was coming. And they had 216 days to stop it.